My name is Madeline Carter, and I was 33 years old when my fiancé decided that the best way to prepare for our marriage was to publicly question whether I had ever been faithful to him. It happened on a Tuesday evening. I had just finished dinner and was scrolling through Instagram when Ethan's post appeared on my screen. At first, I assumed it was one of the harmless relationship jokes he occasionally shared. Then I saw our engagement photo, beneath a block of bold white text, making my woman take a polygraph before the wedding. If she truly loves me and has nothing to hide, she should have no problem proving it. Trust, but verify. Smart groom, no secrets, pre-wedding test. For nearly a full minute, I stared at the photograph. Ethan Brooks was 29. We had been together for 3 years, engaged for 8 months, and were supposed to be married in 4 more. Our venue was booked, deposits had been paid, invitations were being printed. And apparently, while I was finalizing floral arrangements, my fiancé was inviting strangers on Instagram to debate whether I was trustworthy. Ethan was spending the evening at his friend Marcus's apartment for their weekly poker night. I took a screenshot and sent it to him. "We need to talk about this when you get home." His reply came almost immediately. "About the test, babe, it's just being smart. You never asked me. My cousin did one with his wife before they got married. It gave them peace of mind. You announced it publicly, because I knew you'd overthink it." I read that sentence twice. Then, another message arrived. "If you have nothing to hide, what's the problem?" Something inside me went strangely still. Ethan probably expected anger. Maybe tears. Perhaps a frantic attempt to reassure him that I had never cheated. Instead, I looked at the engagement ring on my hand and thought about the rule he had just created. Transparency. No secrets. Nothing to fear. "Great idea," I typed. "You first." The 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. "What?" "If we're doing polygraphs, we both take one. You go first." "That's ridiculous. I'm not the one who needs to prove anything." "Why not? If you have nothing to hide, what's the problem?" He did not answer for 20 minutes. Then, he sent one final message. "We'll talk when I get home." Ethan walked through the door shortly after 11. He did not kiss me or ask how my evening had been. He dropped his keys on the kitchen counter and looked at me as though I had embarrassed him. "I can't believe you're making this about me. You posted about testing me without asking. I was trying to protect our marriage. By humiliating me online, you're being dramatic." I remained seated at the dining table. If we're doing polygraph tests, we're both doing them. Equal transparency. That isn't fair. I almost laughed. You publicly demanded that I take one, but asking you to do the same thing isn't fair. I'm the one who suggested it, and I'm agreeing. You simply have to lead by example. His face reddened. "This is controlling behavior, Madeline." "I'm not controlling anything. I'm accepting your proposal exactly as you presented it." "No. You're turning it into a power play. You created the stage, Ethan. I'm just refusing to stand on it alone." For a moment, neither of us spoke. The refrigerator hummed behind him. Somewhere outside, a car door slammed. Ethan looked away first. "I don't need to take one." "Why?" "Because I'm not the one with trust issues. You are demanding proof that I've been faithful. That sounds like a trust issue. I just want certainty before I marry you." "Then we'll both get certainty." He grabbed his jacket from the chair. "I'm staying at Marcus's tonight. Maybe you'll be reasonable in the morning." After he left, I sat alone in the kitchen, staring at the ring on my finger. There had always been small moments with Ethan that I had dismissed. The way he sometimes asked too many questions when I came home late from work. The way he checked who had liked my photographs. The way he once accused me of flirting with a waiter because I laughed at a joke. I had interpreted it as insecurity. That night, for the first time, I wondered whether it was something else. I opened his Instagram post and left a public comment. "Great idea, sweetheart. I've scheduled appointments for both of us. You're going first. Lead by example." Then I made sure it was true. I found a licensed polygraph examiner downtown named Paul Reynolds. He was a retired law enforcement investigator who conducted corporate screenings and private relationship examinations. 2 tests cost $800. I scheduled Ethan's for Saturday at 2 in the afternoon. Mine was booked for the following Tuesday. I emailed Ethan the confirmation before I could change my mind. He called me Thursday morning while I was at work. "You can't schedule something like this without asking me." He was shouting loudly enough that I stepped away from my desk. "You announced that you were making me take one without asking me." That was different. How? I was discussing something that would help our relationship. So I'm not taking it. Then I'll cancel mine. Fine. And I'll comment on your post explaining that you refused to take the same test you demanded from me. Silence. I could hear him breathing. "You're being cruel." "I'm being fair. This isn't what I meant." "I know." That was the first moment I truly sensed fear in his voice. Not anger. Not embarrassment. Fear. "Saturday at 2, I said. "I'll drive." He hung up. That evening, Ethan's mother called. Diane Brooks had never openly disliked me, but she had always found subtle ways to remind me that Ethan deserved a woman who was more agreeable, more traditional, and less focused on her career. "Madeline, Ethan is extremely upset. I know. He doesn't want to take this test. He publicly announced that I would be taking one." "He meant you." I understood that. "Then why are you forcing him to participate?" "Because if we're testing honesty and fidelity before marriage, both partners should be tested." "That's ridiculous. Ethan has been nothing but faithful to you." "You sound very certain." "I know my son. And I know myself. Yet he still wants proof." Diane paused. "Well, perhaps he has reasons to be concerned." "What reasons?" Another pause. "I don't know exactly what you've been doing." "You don't know because there is nothing to know. I'm only saying women receive a great deal of attention these days." I leaned against the kitchen counter. "Perfect. The tests will remove every doubt. Ethan goes Saturday, I go Tuesday." Diane released an irritated breath. "You're going to ruin your relationship just to prove a point." "No, Diane. I'm following Ethan's idea." She hung up without saying goodbye. Saturday morning, Ethan claimed he had a migraine. I offered to reschedule. His expression briefly relaxed until I added, "But I'll still cancel mine," and explained publicly why. His migraine disappeared. We drove downtown in silence. Paul's office was located on the third floor of an old brick building. The waiting room contained 2 gray chairs, a dying plant, and a clock that seemed impossibly loud. Paul was in his 50s, calm and professional. He explained that polygraphs were not infallible, but strong patterns of physiological responses could indicate deception. I had submitted the questions in advance. "Have you been sexually intimate with anyone else during your relationship with Madeline? Have you developed romantic feelings for another person during the relationship? Have you lied to Madeline about where you were or who you were with? Have you hidden significant financial problems or debts? Are you currently concealing anything that could affect your marriage?" Ethan glanced at me after Paul read the questions. "You wrote these. They're standard relationship questions. You're enjoying this." "No, Ethan. I'm really not." Paul led him into the examination room. I waited for almost 2 hours. At first, I answered work emails. Then I tried reading an article. Eventually, I simply watched the second hand circle the clock. When the door opened, Ethan walked out looking pale. He avoided my eyes and sat in the waiting room. Paul asked me to join him in his office. He closed the door. "Miss Carter, I need to be direct with you. Your fiancé demonstrated significant deceptive responses to several questions." My stomach tightened. "Which questions?" He placed the printed charts in front of me. The question, concerning sexual intimacy with another person, showed clear deception indicators. So did the question about lying regarding his whereabouts. The final question about concealed information also produced a substantial reaction. For a second, every sound seemed to disappear. What does that mean? It means he was not truthful in his responses. Again, these examinations are not perfect, but the patterns are strong enough that I would recommend a serious conversation. I paid the remaining balance with shaking hands. Ethan was crying when I returned to the waiting room. "Let's go home," I said. He began talking before we reached the highway. "The test was wrong. Those things aren't reliable." I told the truth, but it made me look guilty. I kept my eyes on the road. "Then tell me the truth." "I already did." "Ethan." He turned toward the passenger window. Please. He remained silent for so long that I thought he might refuse. Then he whispered, "It was only twice." The steering wheel felt cold beneath my hands. What was twice? There was a woman at work. Chloe. I said nothing. We slept together twice, but it happened before we got engaged. My chest constricted. When? A month before you proposed. I remembered that month. We had toured apartments. We had discussed children. Ethan had sent me photographs of rings he liked and joked that I was taking too long to ask him, all while sleeping with someone else. You have worked with her this entire time. It didn't mean anything. You slept with her twice. It was physical. I chose you. You accepted my proposal after cheating on me. It was a mistake. Twice. His tears returned. You can't act like this is entirely my fault. You forced me to take that stupid test. I looked at him then. You demanded that I prove I had never cheated while you were hiding an affair. It wasn't an affair. What would you call it? We weren't engaged. We had been together for almost 3 years. I knew you would react like this. That's why I never told you. The words struck harder than the confession. Not remorse. Justification. You accused me because you were projecting. That isn't true. You cheated, so you assumed I might have done the same. I only wanted to know you were committed. Was I committed when you slept with Chloe? His jaw tightened. I chose you in the end. I turned my attention back to the road. The rest of the drive passed in silence. When we arrived home, I walked directly into the office and opened my laptop. Ethan followed me. What are you doing? I searched for the venue contract. Madeline. I'm checking the cancellation policies. His face emptied. You're not seriously canceling our wedding. I opened the catering agreement next. You cheated on me, lied for 3 years, and demanded that I prove my loyalty because you couldn't live with your own guilt. It happened years ago. You have been lying every day since. You can't throw away everything over 2 mistakes. I looked up at him. The affair was 2 choices. The lie lasted 3 years. His mouth opened, but no words came. On my screen, the venue contract displayed the sentence I had been searching for. All deposits are non-refundable. The amount beneath it was $8,500. I stared at the number, feeling the first sharp edge of what the truth was going to cost me. Then I moved the cursor toward the cancellation form. Ethan stared at the cancellation form as if it were a weapon. You're angry, he said. I understand that. But you don't cancel a wedding while you're angry. I'm not angry. That was the strange part. Anger would have been easier. Anger was hot and temporary. What I felt was colder. A slow, spreading certainty that the man standing in my office was not the person I had believed I was marrying. You're obviously angry, he insisted. You're trying to punish me. I'm trying to protect myself. From what? Something that happened 3 years ago. From someone who can lie to my face for 3 years and then publicly demand that I prove my loyalty. He paced behind me, dragging both hands through his hair. I admitted it. You admitted it because a machine exposed you. That machine isn't even reliable. Reliable enough that you confessed before we got home. His voice sharpened. Then take your test Tuesday. I turned in my chair. What? You still have to take yours. No, I don't. His expression changed from panic to outrage. That was the agreement. The agreement was that we would both take tests before getting married. We are no longer getting married. You don't get to cancel yours just because mine went badly. Went badly. You know what I mean. Yes, you failed. I made a mistake. You lied. You're acting like you're perfect. I never said I was perfect. I said I didn't cheat on you. He folded his arms. And I'm just supposed to believe that, for several seconds, I could only stare at him. Even after confessing, he was still trying to place me on trial. You demanded the test because you wanted control, I said quietly. Now that it exposed you, you're desperate to drag me down with you. That's not what this is. It's exactly what this is. He pulled out his phone. I'm calling my mother. Go ahead. Diane arrived less than an hour later. She brought Ethan's older sister, Michelle, with her. The moment they entered my living room, I knew Ethan had not told them the full story. Diane came in carrying righteous indignation. Michelle looked at me as though I had already been convicted of something. Ethan sat between them on the couch, pale and wounded. I remained in the armchair across from them. Diane began. Madeline, we all understand that you're upset. That's generous. But Ethan made one mistake years ago. Two. She blinked. What? He slept with Chloe twice. Michelle leaned forward. So you're really going to destroy your entire relationship over that? No. Ethan destroyed it when he cheated and lied. People make mistakes, she said. Twice. It was years ago. And he hid it every day since. Diane sighed, as though I were being deliberately difficult. He chose you. I felt something bitter rise in my throat. He accepted my proposal. That means he wanted a future with you. Or Chloe didn't want one with him. Ethan's head snapped up. That's not true. Did you ask her? He looked away. That tiny movement told me more than his answer would have. Michelle noticed it too, but instead of questioning him, she turned on me. You're being cruel. I'm asking a reasonable question. No, you're humiliating him. I almost laughed. He posted publicly that I needed a polygraph to prove I was marriage material. But I'm humiliating him. That post was stupid, Diane admitted. He knows that now. Does he? Ethan looked at the floor. Diane's tone softened, becoming almost maternal. You've invested 3 years in this relationship. The wedding is 4 months away. People have booked flights. The venue is paid. You have a dress. I have a dress, I corrected. Ethan has a suit. She waved that away. You know what I mean. Everything is ready. Except the marriage. Ethan began crying again. I love you. I looked at him. You said you loved me then too. I did. And you still slept with her. We weren't engaged. The room went silent. Diane's face tightened. Michelle shut her eyes briefly, as if even she understood how bad that sounded. I leaned forward. So, engagement is the only thing that would have stopped you. That's not what I meant. It's exactly what you said. I meant things felt uncertain then. We were apartment hunting. I was scared. So you slept with someone else? It happened. No. Rain happens. Accidents happen. You chose to meet her, chose to lie about where you were, chose to sleep with her, and then chose to do it again. He wiped his face. I chose you afterward. You keep saying that like, I should be grateful. Diane stood. Enough. I looked at her. You don't get to walk into my home and tell me when enough is. Her face flushed. This is Ethan's home too. No, it isn't. Ethan looked up sharply. What does that mean? It means the lease is in my name. I lived here before we met. You moved in 18 months ago. You can't just throw me out. I'm giving you 1 week. Michelle rose from the couch. You're kicking him out because he made one mistake before you were even engaged. I'm ending the relationship because he cheated, lied, projected his guilt onto me, and publicly accused me of being untrustworthy. Men forgive women for cheating all the time, she snapped. I'm not a man, and I'm not required to forgive anyone. The words landed hard. Diane crossed her arms. Fine, cancel the wedding, but you'll reimburse Ethan for half the losses. I stared at her. Why? Because he shouldn't be financially punished for your decision. My decision? You're the one ending things. Because your son cheated. That happened years ago. Time doesn't turn a lie into truth. Diane's mouth thinned. We've all paid for this wedding. No. I paid the venue, deposit the caterer, the photographer, and the DJ from my account. Ethan looked at me. We were going to combine finances after the wedding. We're not having a wedding. His expression twisted. You planned this. I actually laughed then. You think I planned for you to fail the polygraph test you demanded. You wanted an excuse to leave. That is what people say when they can't accept the consequences of their own actions. Michelle stepped closer until she was standing over me. My brother deserves better than this. Then, he should go find it. Maybe Chloe is available, I added. Ethan stood so quickly his knee struck the coffee table. Stop saying her name. Why, you had no problem saying mine when you posted that I needed to prove my faithfulness. His hand closed around a decorative candle from the table. For one strange second, I thought he was only moving it. Then he threw it. It missed my shoulder by less than a foot and shattered against the wall. Wax, glass, and fragments of ceramic scattered across the floor. The room became completely still. Ethan stared at what he had done. Diane whispered, "Oh my God." I stood slowly. "All of you need to leave," Madeline Ethan began. "Now." "I didn't mean to." "Get out." Diane reached for his arm. "Come on." Michelle looked shaken but still angry. "You're going to regret this." "No," I said. "I think I just avoided something I would have regretted much more." They left without another word. The next morning, I started making calls. The venue kept the full $8,500 deposit. The caterer kept $3,200. The photographer returned half of my $2,000 payment. The DJ refunded everything except a $200 booking fee. By noon, I had calculated the damage. Approximately $13,000 gone. I sat at the kitchen table staring at the total. It hurt. Not because of the money alone, but because every dollar represented a future I had believed in. The ballroom, the flowers, the photographs, the meal we would never share, the first dance that would never happen. I let myself cry for 20 minutes. Then I closed the spreadsheet. $13,000 was expensive. A divorce would have cost more. A lifetime spent questioning every late-night deleted message and work event would have cost more than money. Ethan collected some clothes that afternoon while I stayed in my bedroom. He did not apologize for the candle. He only asked whether I had reconsidered. I had not. 2 days later, his Instagram post changed. The original caption disappeared. In its place, Ethan wrote, "Update. Turns out, my ex-fiancé couldn't handle being asked for honesty. She canceled our wedding because accountability made her uncomfortable. Bullet dodged." The comments came quickly. "You deserve better." She was obviously hiding something. Women like that blame everyone else. At first, I felt sick. Then my cousin Rachel called. "I saw his post," she said. "What actually happened?" I told her everything. The test. Chloe. The confession. The candle. Rachel was silent for several seconds. "Can I correct people?" "Don't post his name." "I won't." By the next evening, a different version of the story was circulating. A groom demanded his fiancée take a polygraph before their wedding. She agreed, but made him go first. He failed, confessed to cheating, and then blamed her for canceling. Ethan called me furious. "You told people. You posted first. That was private information. Your accusation was public. You're destroying my reputation." "No, Ethan. I'm correcting the story you invented. You need to tell Rachel to delete it. She didn't use her name. Everyone knows it's me. Then maybe you shouldn't have posted the original story to everyone you know." He hung up. 2 days later, I received a call from a number I didn't recognize. A woman spoke when I answered. "Is this Madeline Carter?" "Yes." "My name is Chloe Bennett." Every muscle in my body went rigid. "I work with Ethan. I know who you are." She inhaled carefully. "I heard the wedding was canceled. I think I owe you the truth." For a moment, neither of us spoke. I had imagined Chloe many times since Ethan's confession, but never as a real person with a careful voice and nervous breathing. In my mind, she had been an outline, a name attached to betrayal. Now she was on the phone. "I'm listening," I said. "I didn't know you and Ethan were serious when it happened." A bitter laugh escaped me. We had been together for almost 3 years. "I know that now." Her voice cracked slightly. "At the time, he told me you were casual. He said you were seeing other people and that neither of you wanted anything serious." I gripped the edge of the kitchen counter. "We were discussing moving in together." "I'm sorry." The second time, there was a pause. "He said you had broken up." I closed my eyes. Of course he had. Ethan had not simply betrayed me. He had constructed 2 separate realities and placed each of us inside the one that benefited him. "Why are you telling me this now?" "Because people at work heard about the polygraph. Ethan has been telling everyone you overreacted." "That sounds like him." "I didn't want you thinking I knowingly helped destroy your relationship." "You slept with him twice." "I did." "At some point, did you ask whether he was still with me?" "I did, after the first time." "And he lied?" "Yes." Her honesty did not make the pain disappear, but it changed its shape. Chloe had made her own choices. I was not excusing them. But Ethan had lied to both of us, using uncertainty as camouflage. Are you still involved with him? I asked. No. Have you been texting him? Another silence. Not involved. That wasn't my question. She exhaled. He messaged me occasionally. How recently? Last month. The answer landed heavily. What did he say? Mostly jokes. Work complaints. He asked if I ever thought about what happened. I felt cold, despite the afternoon heat. And what did you say? I told him it was a mistake and that I was in a relationship. You have a boyfriend? Yes, Daniel. We've been together for 2 years. Does he know? No. The word was barely audible. I thought of Ethan, sitting in our home, demanding proof of my faithfulness, while secretly revisiting the woman he had cheated with. Tell him, I said. Chloe went quiet. Madeline, tell Daniel before someone else does. It happened years ago. That's what Ethan kept saying. I'm not Ethan. Then don't repeat his mistake. She did not respond. I softened slightly. I'm not threatening you. I'm telling you that secrets don't become harmless because they survive for a long time. I know. Do you? Her breathing became uneven. I called to apologize. And I heard you. I really am sorry. I ended the call before either of us could say anything else. That night, I barely slept. Every answer had created another question. If Ethan had contacted Chloe the month before our wedding, what exactly had he wanted? Validation, another affair, proof that she still desired him. And if he had lied about the circumstances, why should I believe it had only happened twice? The next morning, I received a message from Ashley Morgan, one of Ethan's closest friends. Can we talk? I almost ignored it. Then, another message appeared. I owe you an apology. We met at a coffee shop near my office. Ashley looked uncomfortable from the moment she sat down. She kept stirring a drink she never tasted. I believed him, she said. About what? About you. I waited. For months, Ethan kept saying you were acting suspicious. My stomach tightened. What kind of suspicious? He said you were staying late at work, hiding your phone, getting distant. I stayed late twice during tax season. I never hid my phone. I know that now. Why would he tell you those things? Ashley looked down. I think he was preparing us. For the Polygraph post. She nodded. He brought it up weeks before he posted. He said you'd probably refuse because guilty people hate being questioned. I stared at her. He had not acted impulsively. The post had been part of a story he was building. If I had refused, I said slowly, he would have treated that as proof. That's what it sounded like. And if I took it, he probably expected you to pass. Then why do it? Ashley hesitated. I think he wanted everyone to see him as the careful one, the loyal one, the wronged one, I thought. Even before there was a public conflict, Ethan had chosen his role. Did he ever mention Chloe? Ashley's expression changed. Sometimes. How often? A lot, honestly. My hands tightened around the paper cup. What did he say? Mostly stories from work. Things she said. Places she went. He complained about her boyfriend, too. Why? He said Daniel was controlling. I almost smiled at the irony. Did you think there was something between them? We joked about it once. And Ethan got defensive. The coffee shop seemed to grow louder around me. What about work events? They went to a lot of happy hours. Sometimes the whole department. Sometimes just a few people. Sometimes just the two of them. Ashley did not answer quickly enough. I don't know. You do. I saw them leave together once. When? Last year. The room tilted slightly. Did you ask him about it? He said they were going back to the office to finish something. At 10 at night. I believed him. So did I. Ashley's eyes filled with tears. I'm sorry, Madeline. I believed that she was. But apologies could not rebuild the version of my past that was collapsing. For several days, I became obsessed with reconstructing Ethan's movements. I checked old calendars, photographs, messages, and travel receipts. There were too many late work nights. Too many happy hours. Too many moments I had accepted without question, because trust had seemed like the mature thing to offer. Then I stopped. It no longer mattered whether the number was 2, 5, or 20. The relationship was over. The exact size of the fire did not change the fact that the house had burned down. A week after Chloe's call, an unfamiliar woman messaged me. Her name was Natalie Reed, Daniel's sister. She explained that Chloe had finally told Daniel about sleeping with Ethan years earlier. But during the conversation, Daniel had asked to see the recent messages between them. Chloe resisted. That resistance was enough. Daniel found the messages. Ethan had asked Chloe whether she ever regretted choosing Daniel. He had written that marrying me sometimes felt like closing a door he wasn't ready to close. He had sent her a photograph from one of their old office parties with the message, "We were good together before everything got complicated." Chloe had replied that he needed to stop, but she had not blocked him. Daniel ended the relationship that night. Natalie said Chloe blamed Ethan. Ethan blamed me. Apparently, he told mutual friends that my warning had destroyed 2 relationships. That evening, Ethan called. "You happy now?" "I don't know what you're talking about." "Daniel dumped Chloe." "I heard. You pushed her to confess." "I told her not to build a future on a lie." "You had no right." "You contacted her while planning to marry me." "That was private." "You keep using that word when you mean hidden." His voice rose. "You ruined her life." "No. You lied to her, lied to me, and kept messaging her while both of you were in relationships." "She told me to stop." "Then why did you continue?" He did not answer. I heard him breathing heavily. "This is all because you couldn't let something go." "No, Ethan. This is because you never did." He hung up. 3 days later, a certified letter arrived at my office. The return address belonged to a law firm. My hands went numb as I opened it. Ethan was threatening to sue me for emotional distress, public humiliation, and damage to his reputation. The amount demanded was $25,000. At the bottom of the page, beneath paragraphs accusing me of orchestrating a campaign against him, was a deadline. 10 business days. For the first time since canceling the wedding, I felt afraid. Then I read the letter again. Slowly. By the second reading, the fear was gone. In its place was something steadier. Ethan had made one more mistake. He had put his version of the story in writing. I hired an attorney the following morning. Her name was Rebecca Chen. She listened to my entire story without interrupting once. I showed her screenshots of Ethan's Instagram post, my public reply, the confirmation emails for the polygraph appointments, the examiner's receipt, text messages, and the letter his lawyer had sent. When I finally finished, Rebecca leaned back in her chair. "So, he publicly accused you of being unfaithful?" "Yes." "He voluntarily took the polygraph first?" "Yes." "He admitted to cheating immediately afterward?" "Yes." "He then publicly implied you canceled the wedding because you were dishonest?" "Exactly." Rebecca smiled for the first time. "I don't think Mr. Brooks understands how defamation works." She drafted a response that afternoon. It was only 4 pages long, but every sentence landed like a hammer. Her letter stated that Ethan had voluntarily initiated the public controversy, voluntarily submitted to the examination, voluntarily admitted to infidelity, and had since published misleading statements that damaged my reputation. If he proceeded with litigation, we would immediately file a countersuit for defamation and seek discovery of all electronic communications between Ethan and Chloe, including deleted messages. Rebecca even requested preservation of Ethan's social media records in anticipation of litigation. When I read the final paragraph, I almost laughed. "We welcome the opportunity to present the complete factual record before a court." The letter was sent overnight. 10 days passed. Nothing. Then 20. Still nothing. Rebecca called me. "I think they're done." "No lawsuit." "No lawsuit. What changed?" "My guess." She smiled. "They realized discovery works both ways. If Ethan wanted a courtroom, he would have to surrender years of phone records, text messages, work, communications, social media activity, and sworn testimony. Apparently, that prospect was less appealing than pretending the entire situation had never happened. A few days later, Ethan's Instagram account became private. The original polygraph post disappeared. So did every photograph of us. Several mutual friends quietly told me he had deleted months of relationship posts. It was an attempt to erase history. History rarely cooperates. By then, our wedding invitations had already reached nearly everyone. People naturally wanted answers. Instead of posting online, I sent a simple group message. To our family and friends, the wedding has been canceled. After discovering that Ethan and I were no longer compatible, we made the difficult decision to end our engagement. Please do not send gifts. Thank you for your love and understanding, and I sincerely apologize to anyone who already made travel arrangements. That was all. No accusation, no screenshots, no public humiliation. Many people replied with kindness. Others called privately. Most eventually learned the truth anyway. Families have an incredible way of sharing information without anyone officially announcing it. About 5 weeks after everything ended, my sister-in-law Lauren called me laughing. You'll never guess who I saw at Target. Ethan. Bingo. What happened? He recognized me and walked over. Oh no. He started telling me how you broke his heart over something from years ago. I already knew where this was going. Lauren continued. He kept saying, you refused to forgive one mistake. And I asked him one question. What? Did you cheat on my sister? He froze. I took that as a yes. I couldn't help smiling. Lauren laughed. Then I told him, she didn't leave because you made a mistake. She left because you lied until you got caught. What did he do? He abandoned his shopping cart and walked right out of the store. For the first time in weeks, I laughed so hard that tears formed in my eyes. Not because Ethan had been embarrassed, because someone else had finally said exactly what I had been trying to explain. It was never only about the affair. It was about the years that followed. About waking up every morning and choosing another lie. About watching me plan our wedding while knowing the foundation beneath it wasn't real. About accusing me of the very betrayal he had committed himself. 6 weeks after canceling the wedding, life finally became quiet. The apartment felt larger without Ethan's things. Sometimes that silence felt peaceful. Sometimes it felt lonely. I packed away the decorations we'd bought together. The guest book, the table centerpieces, the framed engagement photographs. I donated what I could, stored the rest. One rainy Saturday, I found the envelope containing the venue contracts. The cancellation figures were still written across the top. Venue, $8, $500 lost. Catering, $3, $200 lost. Photographer, partial refund. DJ booking fee lost. Total, approximately $13,000. Months earlier, seeing those numbers had made me physically sick. Now they looked different. They looked like tuition. Expensive tuition. The cost of learning exactly who I had almost married. Around that same time, I heard through mutual friends that Ethan had started therapy. I genuinely hoped it was true. Not because I wanted him back. I didn't. But because people who constantly accuse others of their own behavior rarely change without confronting themselves. Whether he ever did was no longer my responsibility. One afternoon, Ashley stopped by my office with coffee. I talked to Ethan. Oh, he finally admitted the Instagram post was his idea. I smiled faintly. I never doubted that. He said he thought you'd refuse the test. So did I. He also admitted he never expected to take one himself. There it was. The truth beneath all the other truths. He had designed a trap. He simply forgot that doors swing both ways. Ashley hesitated. Do you ever regret making him go first? I looked out the window. Traffic crawled below us. People hurried through crosswalks, carrying umbrellas against another summer storm. For a moment, I imagined the life I almost lived. A wedding, children, shared bank accounts, anniversaries. Years of trusting someone who had already proven capable of building entire worlds out of lies. Then I remembered sitting in Paul's office staring at those deception charts. I remembered Ethan whispering it was only twice. I remembered the candle exploding against my wall. I remembered every accusation he had aimed at me while secretly carrying his own guilt. I turned back to Ashley. Absolutely not. She smiled. I figured. The polygraph wasn't the important part. No, it didn't destroy my relationship. It revealed it. Ashley nodded slowly. I never thought about it that way. Ethan wanted transparency. And he got it. Just not the version he imagined. Later that evening, I sat alone on my balcony watching the sun disappear behind the skyline. For the first time since everything happened, I wasn't replaying the affair. I wasn't thinking about Chloe. I wasn't wondering whether there had been more women. None of those answers could change my future. The only answer that mattered was the one I'd already been given. When someone demands that you prove your honesty, while refusing to examine their own, they usually aren't searching for the truth. They're searching for permission to keep hiding theirs. The engagement ring had long since been returned. The wedding venue belonged to another couple now. Life had continued exactly as it always does. Quietly, without asking whether I felt ready. Would trusting someone again be difficult? Absolutely. Would I eventually get there? Maybe. But one thing would never change. The best decision I made wasn't canceling the wedding. It was refusing to accept a double standard. Ethan wanted me to stand alone under the spotlight while he remained safely in the shadows. Instead, I invited him to stand beside me. The light exposed everything. Looking back now, that $400 polygraph appointment was the least expensive part of the entire experience. It saved me from a marriage built on projection. It saved me from spending years wondering why every innocent action somehow became evidence against me. Most of all, it saved me from marrying a man who demanded transparency only because he believed his own secrets would never be discovered. The polygraph had been Ethan's idea. I simply made sure it served its real purpose. The truth.